I think it was it was just expectation. You're going into every series thinking, oh, could this be the one? You know, could this be the time that England turn it around? And we just got thumped year after year. We'd probably win the first Test match. I think we used to win the first one quite well. I remember is it Edgbaston? That was probably 93, maybe 97, maybe a little bit later, I think. But we'd compete in a Test match, and you think, wow, we're close here, we're getting better. But then Australia would just come back and just dominate everything that they were trying to do after that, and just beat us up. We wouldn't get into the contest from pretty much straight on after that. So pretty frustrating, as you can imagine, that we were just getting nowhere near it. Yeah. Yeah, definitely, yeah.
And which is hard for you to debut into?
Yeah, a little bit. Of course, you have that sort of element of, the game. It felt to me, which I gradually worked as the game was going on, or the series was going on, that they were playing a different style of cricket to what we were.
Yeah.
Just more aggressive, more potent, more free-flowing about what they were trying to do. So, to try and pick that up to start with, I was still quite fresh-faced in terms of, playing a Test match, this is great fun. We're going out against Australia. This is going to be brilliant. And then you gradually get the feel of the intensity and the sledging and the chirping and Matty Hayden just nibbling away at you all the time. Just the little things that go with it and the extra parts of the game that come along, which you only get from experience when you play in those big series. So you gradually understand it pretty quickly that this is a different kettle of fish.
Or
the caps do, yeah.
Yeah.
The cap very much does. Of course it does. Yeah, that's your England cap. It's still the major part of one of the things that you earn to become a Test cricketer, is the fact that you get your first England cap. It does change over here a little bit. They now, every 25 Test matches, they award you another cap. So you go your first England cap, then 25, and obviously depending on how many you play, every 25 games. So. You have the little emblem underneath the badge, which is the slight different thing here, but it's still a precious thing, no doubt about it.
Good.
I remember we talked about it. It was like, do not give him this 100 tonight. Let's not give him this 100 tonight, because let's make him sweat on it overnight and come back tomorrow when there'll be half the amount of people here with no alcohol inside them, so they're desperate for him to get it now. But we failed in that attempt again.
Was it the flighting point? Just go,
well, it was because you just wanted to try and have something that you can come back tomorrow thinking, he's been annoyed because he's been sat on it overnight. Because everybody wanted him. From an Australian point of view, everybody was hoping that was going to get it. I think once we realised it was going to be his last Test match, then it was okay, this is quite a nice little thing actually. Yeah, it's quite a nice little thing. Yeah.
Which is great for replays.
Yeah.
How does that make you feel now when you look at that, because it's repeated? And also, how difficult a proposition was he?
Yeah, he's horrible. Yeah, he's horrible to face, especially at someone like Lords, where there's a little bit of slope and he's constantly sort of, the ball sort of nipping back, and then he would hold one up the slope a little bit more. But a proper bowler, wasn't he? Just always at you. Felt a lot quicker than he actually was, probably. He might register on the speedo as one, but it always felt that little bit faster because it just had that flick and that sort of aggressive bounce that he always got. So, but I think it wasn't nice to be your 500, because I know within the course of the game I was 500 for Glenn, and I was 600 for Shane, and then number one for Sean Tate as well. So it was pretty landmark time for the Aussie bowlers. But I'm sure over that time it was something pretty special for him. Aggressive. Sort of not carefree, because it was quite calculated what I was trying to do, but minimal amount of foot movement, I guess, in trying to do something. I move my feet a hell of a lot more now, having not played Test cricket, going back to playing county cricket, because you have to, because of the pace of the bowling and the pitches that you play on. But aggressive is probably the main style. Just go for it more than anything else, because that was the key part of what made me change my game and take the pressure off what I was trying to do. Yeah, thought-provoking all the time, just trying to constantly make the batsman think outside the box. I captained a one-day game at Durham, I think, during that, obviously, summer, and he said to me, with Hayden, I want you to try and change the field every ball in the power play, just to try and get him thinking and changing up. Why is he doing that? Why is he doing that? So I did so. But just little things like that. It was quite aggressive. It was probably the new style of what we'd done. with English cricket, but he just wanted to just be outside the box. Brendan McCullum was probably one of the best ones since that sort of time, isn't it? And he probably took the mantle on from Stephen Fleming almost. That they made you think in different ways, or they came up with plans that, God, why has no one thought of that before? Why is he standing there when he normally stands over there? It's just little things like that he did, and he was so good at sort of getting oppositions to think differently about the game. Yeah, I reckon Simon was probably the best reverse swing bowler that I played with. Obviously played against numerous players, Wasim Akram and the likes of that, but him and Freddie together, but I always felt that Simon was the most dangerous. He had a different approach about how reverse swing was going. He generally tried to swing the ball out to people, and then the dangerous one to Michael Clarke, which he sort of shoulders arms to and just comes out and rips off stump out the ground, was the difference. But he had such a fast arm and a strong bowling action, which made reverse swing so good, because it was purpose built for what reverse swing was almost made to be. But he just never played enough for England. It's such a shame. He picked up so many injuries. Obviously the major knee injury he had at the Gabba, but he had a very strong bowler, very good bowler to have on your side. Yeah, well, it got to the point where they were just going to be aggressive, try and hit him off his length, try and take him for more runs than he'd ever take us. Normally he would get wickets and stop the scoring rate. So we were working on the plan that, right, you can get his wickets, but he's not going to slow the runs down. And
Did you pick him?
Yeah, you could pick most of it at times. You know, at times when he used to bowl a googly, it was always better when he used to bowl that, because they can't set a field for both deliveries. When he started bowling then just the leg spinner and then the back spinner, it looked like the same delivery, and you could only hit him one side of the pitch. So he was just a pain in the backside when he just constantly on you. Just, you know, if he wasn't spinning the ball against you, then he would just be having a little chirp and just keeping you on your toes as much as you can do. But the 600th wicket was just arsey, pretty much, wasn't it? I swept it, dragged it, so I missed it, and then dragged it round, and it hit Gilly on the knee, popped up, thanks very much, job done. And it was like, you are kidding me. You know, I think what was on 50 or something. I'm like, this is not fair. when you get dismissals like that, no wonder he's got 600 wickets when he gets those. You know, and you're throwing your kit around when you get back in. But it was what it was.
Did you ever hear the fizz?
Oh yeah, all the time. Yeah, the as it's cutting the air, definitely the seam and the ball sort of fizzing down and stuff. But you don't pick very often. Some people you pick really easy from the hand, so you see a difference in their wrist position or what they're trying to do. And I think with Shane, it was the beauty. It was always the same, but you could just sometimes see the rotation on the ball, so that would be the difference. And you get used to it in certain ways. But yeah, without a doubt. So some grounds more than others, you can hear the as it's cutting through the air. Mental, yeah, our mental approach that we'd built up over a good period of time, that we suddenly felt more aggressive and more capable to cope with what they were throwing at us. We'd mentally changed, and I think that was the difference. I think it's a nice thing. You know, the England team have done some brilliant things since that time. You know, winning in, I think it was 2010 in Australia, was a brilliant achievement to win away. But it's still the series that everybody talks about. You know, it goes down in history when you talk about 81 Ashes, and you've got 05 Ashes. And these sort of moments that people don't forget. Yeah, and you just try and think, well, to me, it's now, it moves on because I've continued playing cricket for Somerset, and your career moves in different directions, but you can never get away from it. It's still part of the history of the Ashes between the two great countries that will live on, and that series was the pivotal one from my point of view. Yeah, so I came back pretty quick. Yeah, so that's when I really noticed the public of Australia wanting to get to us more than anything else, because we were being followed by the journos. We'd gone out. I remember we sat in Sydney in one of the food halls in the middle of one of the shopping arcades, and everybody there, we were talking, mate, you're going to lose. And it was like, I'm eating my sandwich, you know, go away, you know, like, just leave me alone. And that, luckily, I guess, partly, that didn't last very long for me, because I couldn't cope with the pressure of everything that was happening at that time. And so I disappeared fairly quickly and was watching it from back home in England, and obviously it was so disappointing. Just went horribly wrong from ball one to the end of the series. I think we, as the English, were quite conservative about how we approached it, where I think Australia became quite aggressive, and I don't necessarily mean that in the sledging point of view. It became in the style of cricket. They suddenly wanted to up the scoring rates to get it up to 3.5, 4 and over. That became the norm, where we were still scoring at 2.5 and over. So that was the different style of approach to it from my point of view, and which we had to follow. Yeah. We had to match up to.
Did beating them mean more to you than any other country?
Oh, of course, 100%. You know, we always wanted to beat everybody we wanted to play, but the Ashes was the biggest series, and still is the biggest series that England play in. Yeah, and we still have that feeling now. Yeah, it's been massively important. I think it's gradually changed as I've had children and perspectives on life. Obviously, the illnesses that I've sort of dealt with over my time has given me a massive more perspective on what really matters. I've loved playing cricket, full stop, but playing for England was the pinnacle of what you wanted to do, and I'd love to have another go. I see the guys, and you see them playing in big competitions as we do all the time. And you think, crikey, what great fun that was when I played, just to embrace it, and just such fun along the way. But I think you realise, you know, I sort of brought myself up as cricket was everything to me, and still a massive part of my life. Of course it is. But you soon realise there's greater things out there that really are important. Your health as one. You know, that has been the biggest highlight to me, that without your health, cricket, anything else that goes with it is irrelevant.